this is what has happened. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and I'm super excited to be here because we're going to be having a very important conversation right now. All right, we're going to be talking about how the police have actually failed to impose orders on those that have been accused of abuse, and how that's putting so many women and so many girls at risk simply because the failure of the police. All right, so that is what the conversation is going to be about, and we need to talk about domestic violence. We need to talk about domestic abuse, because that's in fact one of the hidden crises here in the United Kingdom, right? It's actually really bad, and charities and even hospitals have even found out that the situation for a lot of young girls and women are in fact very bad, right? Especially with the pandemic, especially being forced into lockdown with your abuser. Things have actually been, it's pretty much been traumatizing and scary, and I can't even begin to fathom how exactly these people felt as well. Because imagine having to live with your abuser. Things would be so hard. I can't even begin to think or imagine to feel what it feels like, but that is what the conversation is about. So make sure to text me or call me on 078-52473-473 to share your thoughts, share your opinions, and let me know how you feel about this. All right, because this is a very important conversation that we need to have. Anyway, all you need to do is just to text me or call me on 078-52473-473. You can also, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find all of it under Relaks Radio, and that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated about everything that happens. Okay. Now, something else that you obviously need to keep in mind is that our app as well is available for download. So if you want to, maybe share your thoughts, share your opinions, listening to the conversation from where you are in the world, then the best way for you to actually do that is by downloading our app. Okay. So don't forget to actually download the app and share your thoughts and opinions with us, because I would love to hear everything that you have to say. Okay. And now let's actually head into our conversation, because we're going to be talking about, how the police have actually failed these women and girls actually who have been abused and who are constantly under the threat of violence. Okay. So police are actually failing to impose restraining orders or bail conditions on men that have been accused of rape, domestic abuse, harassment, and stalking. And this was actually found by a watchdog, right? Which then, obviously this places a lot of women and girls at increased risk of harm. Now, police super complaint that was submitted by the Center for Women's Justice have actually raised concerns that police were in fact failing to use protective measures in cases involving violence against women and girls. Okay, a joint investigation between the HM Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, and also the College of Policing found that there was, in fact, there was a lack of understanding within police forces about how and when to use such protective measures. Okay. And if anything, what that could mean is that this could possibly lead to women and girls being harmed, or victims even being less likely to report crime in the future, right? And this is not something that we want. And we've spoken about the progress that victims and survivors have made in terms of coming up and speaking about their experience, because more often than not, women have been silenced when they want to talk about their experiences of abuse, right? When they want to talk about their experiences of assault, and that is absolutely, that's disgusting, right? When you've gone through something like that, when your bodily autonomy has been harmed, and you constantly feel like whatever you're doing isn't enough, you feel impure, you feel unclean, it's absolutely terrible that the police is failing in their duty to protect these women, to protect these girls, right? Because now when they fail to do that, what's actually going to happen is it's not going to, not a lot of survivors and victims will want to, come forward and tell their story, because they know even if they did tell their story, then nothing is going to happen, no change is going to take place. So why should I possibly tell my story? Because I'm not going to get the justice I deserve. And this is not something we need. We need people to come up and talk about their experiences so we can stop this, and we can put domestic violence, domestic abuse, we can reduce the the frequency it happens in, right? Now, the CWJ rather has also expressed disappointment that recommendations did not actually go far enough, right? All of these recommendations they've made, they haven't actually gone far enough. Okay. And, Noga Ofer, who happens to be a solicitor at the CWJ, actually said that the super complaint recommendations are welcome, However, they do not get to grip with the severity of the problem or go far enough to ensure that police forces actually make real changes in practice, right? Now, some recommendations actually require improved data gathering, and also it tells chief constables in general terms to prioritize and monitor use of orders, right? But there is in fact a lack of specifics and no discussion of under-resourcing, which happens to be, the elephant in the room, right? So in 5 years, they're actually fearing that the situation will not be much different from today. Okay, because right now we're not seeing any change. We're not seeing any steps that are being taken. So what's to say that there's going to be any change that will happen in 5 years? If you're not going to take changes if you're not going to make changes when you need it, then how are you possibly going to make changes in 5 years? Now, these are the burning questions that have been there. All right, now make sure you stay tuned, because we're going to head into a small break. And after that, we will be back to discuss more of this. But obviously, until then, make sure you stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and it's in fact, the final hour of the show. All right, now it's getting very close towards the end of the show, but don't worry because until 9 o'clock, rather 9 a.m., I still have so much of information, so much of conversation to share with you. So don't be shy to text me or call me on 078-52473473 to share your thoughts and share your opinions, because that way we can actually have an amazing conversation and make sure that you're informed and updated about everything that happens, not just in the United Kingdom, but in fact all over the world as well. All right. So don't forget to share your thoughts. Don't forget to share your opinions, because that will be absolutely amazing as well. Okay. And now let's actually head back into our conversation, because that would be absolutely amazing. Now, before we actually head into our conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can, in fact, be a part of the show. All you need to do is just text us or call us on 078-524-73473. But also, you can like us on our socials, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And also, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated. All right. So, if you got questions that you need answers to, you can drop them in on the comments, or even call us on this number. But also make sure to download our app, because that's available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store as well. Okay. And now let's actually head into our conversation, because we still have a lot left to talk about. Okay. Now, the report actually made several recommendations, including that chief constables should actually ensure that officers understand all the protective measures available, and the Home Office and Ministry of Justice should actually intensify and accelerate their consideration of creating a bespoke offense of breaching pre-charge bail. Okay. Now, the Director General of the IOPC, Michael Lockwood, actually said that the police do in fact have a key role in protecting vulnerable people. Okay. And the truth is, since they have this, since they do have a role in protecting vulnerable people, the super complaint has in fact highlighted clear gaps where improvements must be made, right? And this is to protect these women and girls who are in vulnerable states, right? Now, the right training, support, and guidance, and even leadership is in fact critical to police using protective measures to help keep women and girls safe from harm. Okay, because if the people who are supposed to protect us from violence is not actually going to help us and protect us from violence, then what is the point of us looking up to them to actually protect us, right? Because they're not doing the job properly. So many women and girls actually are still fearing for their lives, because the police have failed to impose these orders, right? These restriction orders, or basically to make sure that these restraining orders, rather, to make sure that these women and girls are much safer. Okay. And the truth is, this is also a community-wide issue, right? And this is not one that needs just this is not one that needs not just a policing response, but also a response from the whole criminal justice sector, non-government organizations, and others, right? Because now more than ever, we need a consistent approach to stop appalling crimes of violence against women and girls from occurring in the first place, right? Which is what I was saying as well. We shouldn't be letting this appalling crimes be happening to women, especially in right now, right? We have the resources to stop it. We have the technology to stop it. So why exactly is it still happening, right? This is in fact one of the biggest questions I have as well. Okay. Now make sure to stay tuned, because I will be back after a break to continue talking to you about all of this. So until then, make sure that you stay tuned, because I will be back to talk about violence, health, and everything else that you need to know right here on Relaks Radio.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's